So earlier today, I spoke a little bit about what I think it's going to take for the independents to become successful. So today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what I think is in the future of independent repair. So the future of independent repair for me is really built on three major pillars. The first one being that I believe that component modular repairs will become much, much more popular. We've already heard Paul talk about, as well as Dennis from Samsung, how the LCD-only repair is going to become available soon. We're already seeing this among all the different OEMs, including Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, Lenovo. I could go down the list of all the different OEMs who are making things more modular. The second thing is that repair is going to become more mainstream. I mean, it wasn't long ago that repair wasn't something that consumers even thought about when it came to a mobile device. It was just you buy another one. But it will become more mainstream. And the third one is that repair service options are going to expand and continue to expand. So I want to kind of dive into each one of these and share my thoughts. So first, a more modular future. So this is an example of a product that was designed initially to not really be repairable. If we look at the Microsoft Surface tablet in 2017, you virtually couldn't repair it. I mean, if you tried taking off the screen, it would crack, and none of the parts were available through Microsoft. And worse, if you couldn't really do any repair on it without having problems. If you compare that today with the Surface Pro 9 that came out in 2022, not only can you easily replace the screen, battery, camera, and pretty much any other part on it, those parts can be ordered directly from Microsoft's website. So this is just one example of how products are becoming more modular and therefore becoming easier to repair and therefore making it more affordable to consumers and therefore a viable option for consumers to choose. Another really, really good example, kudos to Apple for this, was that the iPhone 14 and 15 now have an easily removable back glass. If we compare these two repairs, the iPhone 13 back housing replacement with the iPhone 14 back glass replacement, the part cost and the repair cost for labor was $499 originally. Today, that repair by Apple, as well as most independent repair providers, are going to be around $169. That's a 66% decrease in the cost of that repair, which is extremely common. That makes it a viable option, where with the iPhone 13, many consumers might have cracked their back glass and just said, to hell with it, I'm not going to fix it, or I'm just going to purchase another device. Now this is a viable option that we're seeing customers in my own shop, as well as I'm sure Apple providers around the country are actively utilizing. So again, just one more example of how repairs are becoming more modular, therefore more affordable, therefore more viable. So another thing that we're seeing across the globe is a massive movement around really repair. We're seeing California recently enacted the Right to Repair Act. In the EU, there's tons and tons of regulations that are coming out regarding repair. We've seen every single company from Apple, Samsung, now even Lenovo, pledging to make their products more repair friendly. So this is a huge wave that's happened really in the past year to 6 months, and it's really starting to go mainstream. So as I talked about a little bit earlier, we originally had devices that when we were to damage them or break them, we really didn't think about them as repairable products. They were just replaceable. When you cracked your iPhone first gen, even Apple really didn't have a local authorized network that was fixing these devices. It was a replace. You just get another one. But if you compare that to what's today, a lot has changed. And so with that, we're seeing repair go mainstream. We're seeing consumers finally recognizing that repair is an option and that mobile devices, whether that's your laptop or your cell phone, are things that can be serviced and probably should be. So some great examples of not only how customers are actually utilizing repair, a good way to recognize how repair is going mainstream is how we're just seeing it in pop culture. So I thought it would be kind of unique to actually show you guys some ways in the past year that we've seen repair in pop culture, because you guys may not know about this. Netflix had an entire TV thriller series in Korea that was about an interaction at a repair shop. So it's not available in America, but if you're in Korea, this was like a hit TV show, or hit movie, sorry. We saw Tom Holland. I don't know if anybody saw the famous picture of him with the cracked iPhone. Everybody was joking on him on Twitter that he should get it repaired. He's got an iPhone there with the back glass being cracked. We saw people like huge influencers that are in the tech world starting to recognize repair and make videos about why consumers maybe should think twice before just purchasing another device and maybe give repair a second thought. And most notably to me was a great movie that I recommend anybody go watch. It's called a Nice View. It's a Chinese film. And the entire film is actually about a Chinese entrepreneur that starts a repair shop. This was nominated for one of the best international films, and it grossed over 1.38 billion won. And it's the only film that I've ever seen on Rotten Tomatoes that had 100%. I've never seen that before. So great film. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. So earlier I gave you the examples of devices from 2007 that essentially weren't really repairable at all. And if we compare that with devices today, they're extremely repairable. So we have the iPhone 15 as well as the Samsung S23. Almost every component in these devices are easily replaceable, and genuine OEM parts are offered to companies like mine to do those replacements. That has never been the case in the entire repair industry's history. So times have really changed and repair has gone completely mainstream. So the last pillar of where I think our industry is going and what's in the future of the repair industry in the independent world, particularly being successful, is these expanded service options. So what do I mean by that? So today we have a lot more choice if you're a customer. If you're a customer looking to get your phone fixed, you can go to the authorized network. You can go to an independent network, or you can fix it yourself. Again, this has never been the case before. This is all completely new, and customers are really finally starting to pick up on this and realizing that they can go to their local repair shop and get a genuine OEM part, or maybe they want to be one of the rare people that try to fix it themselves. These are options that are available to them that have really never been there. So another thing I want to kind of point out is how it's evolved even over the past 5 years. If we look at Apple in particular, we've seen that they had an authorized network in 2018 and slowly rolled that out for the independents to join, as well as now they have a self-repair program. Samsung has done the same thing. So they both are checking every single box of what it means to have repairable devices in 2023, whether that's from the parts being available to the types of services that a customer can get, whether it's at a local repair shop near you, an authorized Apple store, or maybe you get it mailed directly to you. So again, these are just some of the ways that repairs, the service options are completely changing. So this brings me to my favorite slide, which is really talking about the independent network. We know that the independent network is growing rapidly. If we compare the mobile repair industry to that of the auto repair world, in the auto repair world, over 70% of out-of-warranty repairs on vehicles are done at independent shops. I have no reason to doubt that that won't be the same and isn't already going to be for independent wireless repair shops. We're very similar. You drop your car off at a local mechanic shop. Most consumers are choosing to drop off their phone at a local repair provider. So I believe that with these new programs that have been launched, the independent world will still maintain and continue to grow at the fastest pace of any of those three service options. And for those reasons, I really think the future of repair, specifically wireless repair, is extremely bright. And I'm really happy to be in this industry and share on all of our success with you guys. So thank you for your time. You know, a lot of repair really is replacement, right? So when we think of repair, what you're doing is replacing the modular components. And so really what we've been able to get now, which is changing, even though the devices are becoming more complex, is the ability to change those small individual components. You know, like with the example of the back housing, we weren't able to do that back housing repair in a proper way until the design change has happened. And so in that manner, even though wireless charging was added and maybe it did become more complex, the repair itself has become easier. So it's lowered the barrier of entry for an average technician to be able to do that back housing or back glass replacement, for example. So yes, they've become more complex, but the repairs are becoming easier because they're more modular. Point taken. I mean, Well, to Apple's credit, the iPhone 14 and 15 now has you can remove just the back glass to get to the battery. You don't have to take apart the entire device. So I think there are two separate issues that you're hinting at. Like the software side of serialization is a completely different conversation. In terms of actually just simply making products more modular, they're absolutely making products more modular in terms of the iPhone and probably the MacBooks as well. Is there room to grow? Sure, but progress is being made, and that's what matters. I think the serialization conversation is a different conversation. I'm not saying it's not one that should be had, but we can't deny or give credit where credit is due when they have made products more modular. I mean, look at the example. The iPhone first gen was essentially not repairable at all, and if you look at the devices today, they're becoming more modular. So progress is being made, and I think that's all that matters. I think consumers will get, the amount of surveyed customers that replaced a battery is extremely low. Like if you look at just the most common thing that should be replaced other than a screen, it's going to be a battery. The majority of consumers today still have not walked into a repair shop and had an interaction with a repairer, whether it's an authorized or an authorized independent or a third party. That ecosystem is nowhere near being as developed as it is for your vehicle. I promise you, if you went to just a random room of people and you said, hey, how many of you guys have replaced your tires or replaced your car battery? Every person's hand's gonna go up. But if you do the same thing for the average room that says, hey, have you ever replaced your phone battery? They're gonna be like, well, I just traded it in, or I just got another one, or blah, blah, blah. I think that is going to change. You're seeing service contracts get longer. They're not 2 years anymore now. A lot of them are 3 years. That alone is going to change how the way that consumers interact with their products as they're holding them for longer and longer and longer. So to answer your question, ultimately, I think repairability will become more available. I think repairs will be done more often by consumers. I think it's a lot. We touched on, I don't know if you were in the room earlier, but I think Google Ads is a huge reason why that is. Currently, consumers can't find a viable, vetted repair shop locally when they're searching on the biggest search engine today. So there's a lot of factors as to why that's the case, probably more than 25%. And maybe, precisely, I think the better way to put it is don't know a viable option that they trust is probably more than 50%. Yeah, but we're making progress.